This week on the Stogie Geek Show, we're going to interview none other than Phil Zanghi from Debonaire Cigars. Then we're going to interview Jason Holly from Viva Republica. Will's going to talk about an unnamed cigar, and I'm going to review one of my favorite new cigars to come out this year so far. All that and more on this edition of the Stogie Geek Show. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the Stogie Geek Show. This show is brought to you by Saga Cigars. Every new blend borrows from the past, and the Saga Blend No. 7 does just that. It's the perfect combination of timeless knowledge of traditional tobaccos and the newer balance that today's cigar enthusiasts come to expect and love in a fine cigar. Leveraging 6 generations of experience and tradition of the Reyes family, the Saga Blend No. 7 delivers a unique, full-flavor, medium-bodied cigar. The cigar is highlighted by a Brazilian wrapper over a blend of Central American and Dominican tobacco. Available in 3 sizes at an affordable price, the Saga Blend No. 7 is sure to please and bring together past and present. And by Ocean State Cigars. Try the J. Grotto series, including the Connecticut Shade Silk, and limited edition J. Grotto Reserva lines, including the new J. Grotto Anniversary. Visit them on the web at oceanstatecigars.com. Welcome, everyone, to the Stogie Geek Show, episode 137 for April 23rd, 2015. I'm your host, Paul Asadorian. I am actually smoking a J. Grotto Series Anniversary, enjoying it very much. We'll have some more information about that coming up. Joining us on the lines via Skype is none other than Mr. Will Cooper.
Hey, greetings, everybody. How you doing tonight?
Look at that. You're rocking the sport coat and everything tonight, Coop.
No,
huh?
it fills on.
It fills on. We got to be debonair, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm smoking a Debonaire First Degree tonight.
Excellent.
Yep.
Yeah, I was smoking something out of Phil's factory. Debonair cigars don't last very long in my humidor. I tend to just smoke them. So I had to go to my alternate, which I had in my humidor, which is the J. Grotto Anniversary Series. Not that these don't last very long. I had to borrow from a sample pack, so I got to go buy some more of these to refill a sample pack that we're sending out for a prize. That's how much I smoke the cigars that are coming out of Phil's factory. So Phil is here with us tonight. Welcome, Phil Zanghi, to the show.
Good evening, everyone.
Phil, it's wonderful to have you here on the show again. Of course, it's always a pleasure to speak with you, bring you on the show, tap your knowledge, talk about some new cigars you got coming out. Phil, before we started, I wanted to just take a short little segue and talk about the cocktail I'm drinking because it has an interesting ingredient in it that relates back to cigars. There's a listener of one of our other podcasts is he still here? Apollo is still here. He's eating some pizza before he has to catch his train. I don't know if there we go. Apollo's just going to jump right here on camera. Say hi to Apollo. Yes, thanks for coming by. Apollo was here in our previous show, and he created cocktails for all of the hosts on our previous show. So my cocktail is actually a unique cocktail that was blended by Apollo, and there is no other cocktail like it. It is his own creation and his own blend, similar to the way you would blend a cigar. And he named it the Smokin' Hot Asadorian, which is one of the other reasons why I wanted to bring it up on the show. It has some very interesting ingredients, though, one of which is a tobacco liqueur. And so I'll put that up there. Apollo, what is this tobacco liqueur?
Honestly, I'm not really that...
Hold on, I think we need to make your mic... There we go. Okay, now we can hear you.
Sorry, I saw this in the discount section of Marty's Liquor Store in Newton, just outside Boston, and I said, this looks like a really interesting flavor to play with. So I bought the bottle. It was like $10.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So it's an integral component to the Smokin' Hot Asadorian. And it's actually a tequila infused with tobacco.
Yeah, so it's a tequila infused with tobacco. It's a little bit sweet, too. It brings a lot of that herb flavor. So it doesn't have, that really heavy, dark tobacco flavor. It's more kind of
Right.
like that fresh, bright, but it still has a good kind of leathery flavor to it.
And you mix that with some fire cider, which is kind of like a tonic here in New England. Yeah.
Yep.
And what else was in it?
Old Overhauled rye whiskey. which
And a rye whiskey.
you tried
Yeah.
that back to back with Billet. So
Yeah.
the Old Overhaul, super heavy, granola cereal grain.
Graham cracker almost kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most people like to do things with Billet. Billet has a lot more smooth, a lot more vanilla flavor because they try and do it more in the bourbon style. But Old Overhaul, rye every day.
And it should come as no surprise that Apollo is a huge fan of cigars as well.
I am.
The way you break down flavors and cocktails and stuff is very similar to the way we break them down in cigars. So
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, both of them have a lot of really complex flavors going on with them.
Yeah.
There's so many dimensions and things to really explore within it.
Apollo's a master. We're going to bring him back on the show. Thank you very much, Apollo,
Anytime, Paul.
for
Thank you.
making a little cameo on Stogie Geeks as well.
Anytime.
So I want to turn it back over. Oh, and he mixed me another cocktail. I'll talk about that after as well. But Apollo's kind of to mix me a second cocktail, so he's been keeping me well lubricated over here. I want to turn it over to Will and Phil to kick off the interview with Phil and talk about some of the things that have been happening in your world, Phil.
Yeah, so Phil, let's talk. I think this is the first time you've had you on the show this year. It's been a very, very busy year for you. Why don't you catch us up on, I guess, the first quarter of Debonaire and how things are going? Hello?
Phil, can you hear us?
It's been just
there you go.
blessed, Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Can
good.
you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
No, it's been blessed. January started off real good. February, I was on the road into Texas. Mostly been concentrating on Texas at the beginning of the year. Last November of 2014, I started the launch in Texas and got some really good traction there and some great people out there. So then they said, it's the end of the year, so why don't you come back? And I went back there, and in the end of January and February, a lot of people ordered from me, started doing some really great business, and I'm going back there Sunday, and then I'll be coming your way. But it's just been real busy. The year started off hot. I got, of course, you guys know I got my old Indian Tabac trademark back, but I'm not using that trademark. I'm working with Polaris, the actual company, Indian Motorcycle, and we're doing Indian Motorcycle Ultra Premium, which I'll launch at the IPCPR this year. So I've been real busy getting that design, boxes, packaging, the blend. It looks like I sent out 13 different sets of samples to key guys that I believe that will tell me the truth and make sure that I'm going the right direction with that. And everybody liked them. Some loved the Maduro, some loved the Havano, but both of them I think are going to do real well in the market. They're going to be from like $6 to $8. They're going to be for all of the brick and mortars, that I can do some more business and get into some more stores and get some more good products in people's hands,
So, Phil, the Indian motorcycle tobacco, did I say that right? Maduro?
Indian Motorcycle Ultra Premium.
Ultra Premium. The Maduro, is that a Connecticut broadleaf Maduro or is that some other kind of Maduro?
It's, of course, broadleaf. Connecticut River Valley broadleaf.
Awesome. Very cool.
As you guys use the term wheelhouse, that's like I love that stuff. Just treats me good,
I find with broadleaf, Phil, the aging is very interesting when you age the broadleaf. Because it comes out, I think, when you smoke it first out of the box, when those boxes first arrive, it makes a wonderful transition. I mean, it's awesome when it first comes out, but there are some distinct transitions in that wrapper as it ages over time. Can you kind of talk about the aging process for the broadleaf, like once you get it out of the retail box to when you're aging it in your own personal humidor?
I think that it starts to equilibrate. What it does is that from the traveling, from going up in the air and it's so cold in the bottom of the airplane, because I don't send it in containers. I try to get it there quick so it doesn't sit on the ocean long. Mm-hmm. It gets really cold, and then it gets, then it gets warm again. So then it gets condensation. So I kind of moistens up again. But by the time you let it rest and let it relax itself in your humidor, I think that by the time it dries out, to say, lack of a better term, it gets itself into the sweetnesses really show itself more. When you first get it out of the box, it's got real pungent, deep flavor, very rich. But once you let it sit, it turns. I think it tastes raisins to me, and real sweet. I give them to some people. I've had some that sat here for a while in the humidor here, and some people come visit, and I give it to them. They're just like, dude, what is that? And everyone thinks I put stuff. I paint them. You know, I use, you know, I'm a freak for water, and I'm really crazy about, you know, doing it naturally and all that stuff. And it takes a long time. It takes about some 8 months, some a year of force sweating it. That means adding the heat quickly, and then naturally sweating it, naturally bringing it up on the pile. It's in piles both times. One's in a room and one's in a natural pile. It's just a time-consuming thing, and you can't rush it. I mean, you just really can't. I've learned how to speed it up, but still not. It can't be rushed, you know.
Yeah, and it's a pretty resilient wrapper too to go through all those different processes as well because it's very thick.
It's amazing. It's like shoe leather. It's an amazing. It's an amazing component. It's a beautiful material. It produces a product that I can sleep at night knowing it's on the street. You know, I know it's not going to react weird in different climates. I know if people give it some bit of attention and love, and that they're not going to ruin it. Habanos, that's right between. You know, that you have to be kind of careful with. You know what I mean? Sometimes it'll dry out quicker. The Connecticut shades, you got to be it's so delicate. They'll pop. And, you know, but I'm a Habano guy and the broadleaf guy. You know, that's what I don't know. I'm the guy, but you know, that's what I tend to go towards. You know.
Yeah, no, I hear you on the Habano and Connecticut's. If they experience any kind of drastic changes in temperature and or humidity, it can be very prone to cracking because that wrapper is so delicate. And when you have them in your humidor, I know that you have to pay very close attention to how they're stored. You know, if you have trays of any kind, like a wooden tray, and it happens to bang up against a corner or, you know, in a drawer and it happens to hit the top, those wrappers are very, very fragile.
Absolutely. I mean, we've just been working hard. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, Paul's stuff we made together, you know, is doing absolutely great. I'm proud. He's proud. I'm doing some other stuff for some people.
Now it's interesting, Phil. Smoking one of Paul's cigars, I know Paul's style, and he likes to put a lot of spice up front, especially in his Robusto sizes. And I've got the short Robusto here, the 56 ring. And I noticed a lot of that spice up front, and then it kind of dissipates and smooths out. And I love that transition. I kind of like a cigar that has that spice up front. So how did you get that spice to be just up front, kind of not almost the whole first third, but it's almost in like the half of that third has that spice component? How do you do that?
I mean, there's no trick to it. I mean, we make the blend. You know when it's fresh how it's going to react. You kind of blend towards a higher strength level when it's fresh, knowing that it's going to dissipate over time. It's going to cure itself out somewhat. It's basically going to marry and mellow itself out. I don't think we blended towards spicy. You know, my term is the full flavor thing and well-balanced. Myself, Mr. Joyle, Mr. Feely, we worked on it really hard, you know. And, I mean, there's no tricks to it. I mean, that's what we developed, and that's what the flavor profiles we wanted to have to it. I mean, do I go into blending a cigar thinking that, you know, I want spice up front and I want it less on the back? No, I just want a balanced product that will react to different consumers but have a continual flavor profile that the people that enjoy that type of cigar, well, like, you're going to find something in it that someone else isn't not going to. You know, that's the beauty of cigar smoking. You know, you think, you know, you find that spice. Some people might find it mellow. Some people might think the spice comes later. Some people might not feel any spice. You know how it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Different strokes for different folks, right?
Yeah, I've been just trying this. This year I have a new term I quoted. It's called blessed stress. So I'm just trying to work towards working harder, keeping the desire to step out of my comfort zones. Try to humble myself more in the market, really listen more to my actual clientele, which is the store owners and the consumers, to help me guide myself into a better Debonaire profile in the years to come. Also with the new products, just trying to do the best job I can do and humbly asking for opinions and just input and trying to spread the Debonaire ideal, trying to be a better man tomorrow than I am today, you know?
That's interesting. I like to think of your lines as pretty well diverse. I mean, your sizes and your choices of wrappers, you know, you've got the Natural, Maduro, and the Debonaire line. What are people asking for above and beyond what you have out already?
The thing is that I think I've set myself in a kind of a niche of my own, because the best compliment I get is that people say, this doesn't taste like anything else, A. And B is when they're smoking. I've actually been with a lot of people lately, and some really cool people. And they're like, you know what, I can't put my finger on it. And I'm like, well, that's what I did. That's what I'm trying to do with the alchemy. They're like,
Right.
What are you even talking about? I said, that's the point. You can't, there's no aftertaste. It's like, it's like a shooting star. You see it for a moment, then it's gone. You smoke it, you enjoy it, you release the smoke. It doesn't leave anything on your palate that's abrasive or that it leaves you wanting more, And that's just the thing with the Debonaire. I mean, I'm coming out with a new limited edition called the 33rd. That'll be released at the show too. It's a 52 by 9. It's Maduro. It's going to be insanity. It's like I selected the leaves, the filler leaves to the highest grade. I think it portrays Debonaire in a beautiful form.
And it's
what people are
a
asking
52.
for, they're asking for more Debonaires. They're asking me for more Debonaires, and they're just asking me to make them better. That's all.
And it's a 52 by 9.
Yeah, it's a super fly. I call it the 33rd, the highest degree.
Wow.
So that could be in the Maduro and
You
the
gotta be
natural?
voted in. You gotta it's like in a Masonic world. You can't make the 33rd. You have to be selected by your peers to be the 33rd. So that's gonna go. It's gonna be only 500 boxes. It's going to my real key guys, the people that believe me from day one. And I'm in my 3rd year now of really going at it. And some of my beginning Debonaire idealists, my Debonaire, priority vendors, the guys who started with me, 2 or 3 of them said, we're going to take it, Phil, we're going to push it, and we're going to do as best we can. But your model is insanity. I don't know how you're even going to do this. And 2 of those people were down here visiting, and they got to say, you know what, Phil, I got to give it to you. I mean, you everything you said you were going to do, you've done. You've lived up to all the expectations we came to. You've actually really been there for us like you said you would. And I'm just like, I'm humbled by it because it's a hard business right now. I'm half nuts. I know I am, I got back in this just to try to make the finest cigar ever made by mankind, and I'm working at trying to do it, And competition, I love it. I'm a very competitive person, but it's a hard business, I know, I mean, everyone in the industry knows me, thank God for all the years I've been in it, but the consumer doesn't know me. And that's the beautiful part is that by me spreading the ideal, I've gotten a lot of really great people that have helped me grow quickly in the way I want to grow, in the real spiritual and being a gentleman and that kind of way, And I just can't thank everyone enough for what you've done for Debonaire, what you've done for me.
Phil, when I smoke your Salomon, I think about the large portion of people that are like, I just can't do a cigar and smoke a cigar that's over a Robusto size. And I smoke that Salomon, and I'm like, these people are crazy. I'm like, maybe they haven't tried Phil's Salomon. Like, it's a large cigar, but it's not one that like you have to like work over, or it feels like it's like like it's work to smoke the cigar. And then, it's interesting on the flip side, Phil, I smoked that First Degree, and I liken it to kind of like my Pugs. It's a big cigar, but in a small cigar format.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
how do you do that? How do you make large cigars that smoke like smaller cigars and small cigars that smoke like bigger cigars?
I think it's just, I smoke them. I mean, that sounds corny, but I actually smoke my stick all day long. And I wanted to have an experience with the Salomon, which left you wanting in the end. Like, wow, I smoked all that and I still want some more.
Right.
Because it's balance. It's everything for me is the balance. It's the nuances of it. It's the first stage, second stage. It's in design that I smoked a lot of them. I love the Salomon myself. To me, that's the pinnacle of a figurado. That's the pinnacle of a cigar. When you really want to sit down and actually have the time to smoke something like that, that cigar is the epitome of it, And I don't know. In the First Degree, I made that cigar. It's weird. That's the same cigar, but miniature.
Yeah. Yes.
Look, that's the whole thing. Mm-hmm. If you look at this First Degree, you put it there, the shadow of it's 10 feet tall, right? And if you look at they take the Solomon, and if you put that in the shadow of that, is the first degree. So it's combined in itself to give you that experience in both facets of my entire line. That's why I believe in core blending. I have one blend, different wrappers, you know? And the thing is, you guys all smoke my stuff. And I mean, you know, I've been with you guys from day one. You guys helped me actually, my fame or whatever you want to consider that, my humble success or whatever these people, all these people, the client-driven, you know, love has come from a lot from you guys. But you guys like my stuff. That was crucial. I'll say this on the air. I mean, I would not have been a sponsor or done anything unless you guys really actually liked my sticks. Because I don't want to have that, you know, just a monetary friendship going that, okay, this is great and blah, 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 you know. And that's what you guys are crucial to that. But getting back to what you're saying about the Solomon in the first degree, I made the first degree to give somebody a lot of flavor in a short period of time. But the Solomon is a relaxed, full balanced, long flavor profile that it's enjoyable the entire way through. It's smooth. It pulls amazingly. They burn real well.
Yep.
And if you're smoking those now, they're in the third year.
They're amazing now, Phil. And it's interesting how you describe the kind of journey of when you smoke a Solomon, right? It's my Friday cigar. And I don't know if that speaks to the characteristics of that cigar, but after I've had, you know, a normal week, a long week, whatever it may be, I'm coming to the end of my week. I don't have to review a lot of cigars on Friday, which is kind of nice. I can sit back and smoke what I like to smoke. I most often on a Friday, you know, after lunch, I'm like, I want a Debonaire Salomon. That's just like my Friday afternoon smoke. It kind of takes me down from my week. It forces me to slow down. It's perfectly flavorful. It takes me on that journey. It doesn't feel like I'm smoking a gigantic cigar, but it's keeping my attention. It's the perfect smoke for that kind of Friday afternoon to celebrate kind of like the end of another work week.
Thank you. That's what I shot for, honestly. I mean, I thought I'd smoke a lot. I've always been around a lot of. I like big cigars because I smoke a lot of cigars. So I kind of like have a not a larger ring gauge, but a longer. You know, from a 7 to an 8. So I have a cigar to smoke for a while. And with the Solomons, I don't know. It was divinely guided. I mean, that was the first cigar I made. I made 5,000 of them. I made a Bellicoso and a Robusto and launched my line. The two cigars that notoriously don't sell in stores.
Yeah.
You know, those are the ones people pick after they know the brand real well. Then they go try those sizes. Of course, Robusto, everyone will go for first. I still have some Solomons left, but I mean, they're sold out to the point where I've saved the amount to save for a long period of time to bring them out once I hit an anniversary date. You know, you know, and I keep getting orders for them, and everyone, you know,
That's
like
awesome.
guys, I mean. There's very few left, and I mean, I have a few left that I can actually, I've gone through them to sell, you know, but the rest I'm keeping, and they've done real well, you know. All the stuff has done good. I mean, my stuff's pricey. I kept at that point, so I didn't have to really, I only compete with a very few amount of people, but people have gotten past the price point in a lot of areas, you know. And I mean, and I think I've lived up to the quality profile I'm trying to portray, and I'm just trying to work hard, you know. And I love everybody. I go on these tours. I enjoy myself. You know, yeah, I'm away from home and I miss my family a lot, but the camaraderie I still see out there and the joy I see from these people having great conversations. And, it's my new thing also is it's like, it's from idea to ideal. And I see the ideal growing, the people are starting to believe we don't make cigars. We make a reason for them to enjoy their lives, and they're starting to enjoy their lives with me. And add me into their lives, not just a Facebook friend thing, actual parts of people's lives, And I mean, that's it's a very beautiful thing. I mean, it's I don't know how to say, it's humbling. I know I use that word. That's what this year's gonna be. I mean, I've been humbled by the love, you know what I mean? And the actual people have taken to it and really are doing their own Debonaire Ideal style things. They're like reading the different books and posting it. Look, I'm getting my Debonaire Ideal game up and say the prayers for the day. People are loving that, saying, you know what, man, that's just awesome. Thank you. I needed that. People I meet in these stores, I've never seen them before. Later on, I kind of recognize their name. Like, yeah, I'm a friend on Facebook. That helps me so much when you send those every day. Your positive attitude, all the things you do. Give me a hug. say, where are your cigars? You know, oh, they're in the humidor. They come out, they buy a bunch of them. Like, man, you ain't have to do that. They're like, man, I want these. You know, these are great. I mean, I feel part of the whole. See, my whole thing is to make people part of the process of Debonaire becoming successful. You know, you guys are part of this. You have a vested interest with me in this. You know, which that's why it's like I know I like doing these interviews with you, but it's not Phil Zanghi in the grand scheme of things. It's Debonaire. My sons will run it one day. Yeah, it'll be a Zanghi run company with all my partner Danny Sinclair and all these great people that are behind me. It's not just me. You know, I don't want it to be just me. I want it to be everybody. It's Debonaire's for everyone. That's why it's the term is it's across all boundaries, all race, creeds, colors, you know, race, you know, genders. It's a whole thing. And the Debonaire ideal can be fit to anyone, you know?
And Phil, that's one of the reasons why I love doing the Debonaire Ideal segment is because a lot of times we're talking about just how to be classy, how to be a gentleman, and that's something that everyone can take away, right, from that segment. And to tie cigars into that, I think is like absolutely outstanding. And I've had so much fun doing these Debonaire Ideal segments, and when you first suggested it, I was excited about it, and I had no idea what was in store after we did a whole bunch of those segments. And I feel like I've enjoyed them so much, and I hope our listeners have as well. And it's one of those things that my wife actually instills on me, right? I realized that in being more kind of debonair and instilling that Debonaire ideal, that's the stuff my wife's like, you gotta like dress nice. And when you go to a classy place, you got to have a classy cigar cutter. You got to have a classy cigar case, right? And those are the kind of things that she buys me. So you're kind of instilling on me some of the things that my wife instills on me, too, about how to be a gentleman, how to be debonair. So I think that was really cool, and how to tie that all into cigar smoking. I think it's very unique and something no one else is doing.
You're doing it yourself, my friend. It's by osmosis.
Hey, I try, man.
All I want people to do is think. Be an accurate thinker, define purpose, independent thought. That's the whole thing. It's not my idea. It's Norman Vincent Peale. It's Napoleon Hill. It's Dale Carnegie. I mean, it's these things that have been around for a long time that for some reason people forgot existed. And the ones who are the most successful guys out there didn't forget it existed. They use it in their daily practices. You know, you do your daily inventories, you check yourself, you know, you try to be. I'm not a perfect guy, never going to be. I mean, I get upset, I do things, but I mean, I own up to it. I'm like, you know, I own what I do. I apologize. I, you know, say, you know what, I'm not sorry for what I said, but I'm sorry how I said it. You know, there's ways to do things. You need to respond to things, not react to them. You know, like when you go to a doctor, you know, the doctor says, hey, guess what, Phil, you're responding really well to the treatment. Or when you go in the office, he goes, hey, Phil, sit down. Your body's reacting very strangely to the new treatment. You know, you need to respond to things. I got to do it. I got to check myself all the time because, I mean, it is in the end, it's all on me. And I'm trying to make this do the best for everyone around me. And there's no way you can make it. If you try to make everybody happy, the only one that's going to be unhappy is yourself. So
it's true. Mean, it's very true.
You know, I'm just trying to do the right thing, you know, and the catalyst for beautiful conversation and the Debonaire Ideal is the cigar. It brings us together to be able to talk about good things, you know?
Will, did you have a last question for Phil before Phil is actually going to participate in one of our Debonaire Ideal segments, which I'm very excited about?
That's awesome. Yeah. I love it. Are people digging it? I'm sorry, Will. Go ahead, buddy. We don't ever let you talk. Ever.
No, Phil, go ahead.
No, are people responding well to the Ideal segments, or do you get any feedback? Or
absolutely, people love them.
Yeah. I mean, Phil, I hit the country a lot, and I go into a lot of cigar shops, and I'll tell you what, it's been. You talk about a great partnership here. It's been very good for us too. And when we walk in and people say how much they love the segments, and they've talked about these Debonaire Ideals, whether it's something they've learned or something that they can relate to. Because Paul and I, sometimes when we do these things, we talk about some of our personal experience behind that. And it kind of just it plays into the like you said, it's the cigars are these conduits to the other things in life, and that's what we've kind of discovered as we pick a topic. Hey, yeah, this is kind of irrelevant that week, so it's been real interesting.
That's awesome.
I want to ask a few more questions. So going back a couple of things, you talked about the 33rd degree. That's going to be a Maduro and a Habano coming out, or just one or the other?
I'm gonna do the Maduro because honestly, I wasn't happy with the Habano I had that was left over for the production, and it wasn't ready. So I was like, well, you know what? The Maduro's ready. It's beautiful stuff. I think it's going to be beautiful. It's going to come in a beautiful 10 count. It's going to be nice. I think everyone will be. I'm proud of it. I think everyone will enjoy it.
Yep, I've heard very good things about it, and I've actually seen it actually last year. You showed me one, and it looks beautiful. So as far as the Indian motorcycle cigar goes, how is that going to compare and contrast to your Debonaire line? You're going to have a Habano and a Maduro in the Indian motorcycle ultra premium line versus your Debonaire ultra premium line. How are they going to now be different in terms of what can folks look forward to with that?
This is going to be more like, not to sound corny, it's going to be like I blended it towards the experience of all my years with the Indian motorcycles I was around, the feeling of getting on one of those bikes, the kind of the freshness of the air, but also the power of the bike, the relevance of, antiquity of the Americana. They're very well balanced. They're their own animal themselves. They're nothing debonair. They're a whole different thing. I blended outside the box with it. I didn't want it to be anything like debonair, so people were just saying, hey, you're just rewrapping and you're putting another band on stuff. It's just beautiful stuff. It's totally different fillers. It's the same binder that I'm using on the debonairs. That's the only thing that's the same. The Habanos is a Habano from the Dominican, and the broadleaf, of course, is Connecticut River Valley, And that where it's grown is maybe 20 minutes from Springfield, Mass., home of Indians, so it's kind of really cool.
Right, now for folks who don't know, Indian motorcycle was a part of your family's heritage.
Okay, in 1991 in high school, I met a guy named Nick DeLeone, okay? He owned the Indian motorcycle trademark. I was doing a class for my senior year to get credits called Retail Trades, young entrepreneurs. I met this guy, became friends with him. He was our neighbor. He basically let me use the trademark to print T-shirts. I sold so many T-shirts. From there, I convinced my dad to give me some money to start making T-shirts and start doing apparel. Then we got after Nick sold me half the trademark for $1, right? We started building up. We moved to Springfield, Mass. After my senior year in high school. We decided to go full swing into it to start making motorcycles. We were almost there. We made, I don't know how many. I mean, it was like 15 million T-shirts, like 20 million hats, key fobs. We licensed it out to Trinity Products and Brockham and Winterland, the big licensee people. It was crazy. We had the bike almost done. I was working with Cyril Batten. He's a real famous guy, offshore racing guy. He's out of Detroit. Pioneer Engineering, which is Ford Job One. They're like the guys who do all Ford. Axle Corporation for the fuel injection. York Corrugation for the fenders. Torrington ball bearings that were doing all this stuff. And the belt drives and all that stuff. And then my dad it's a long story. And it was my youth. It's what I started my life in. And then I spun off Indian Tabac from it. That grew. Me and Rocky became partners and friends. Built it up to the point where we didn't see eye to eye on business practices. He wanted to go one way, I wanted to go another. I resigned from that. Then I got with my partner now, Danny Sinclair. We started to build up the machine made world stuff. And then it just came back to me through different channels that the trademark was out there again to be licensed for tobacco products. So basically, I have the trademark I made back. I lost it, and I have it back now. Mm-hmm. But I moratorium the Indian Tabac. I'm not making Indian Tabac because it went the way it went under the other management is that it went to the catalogs too much, that it's so inexpensive right now that I don't ever see it being able to get back into the brick and mortar. But saying that, everybody that I thought forgot who I was, a lot of these people remember what it is, And my affiliation with Rocky, God bless, he became so famous because actually being part of that helped me get back in quicker.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Now, how often do people have license to a trademark and then get access back to it, Phil? That's got to be a rare occurrence.
I don't put it this way. I made the trademark Indian Tabac. It never existed until I made it in 1991. So to say I lost it or the government took it when my dad went crazy into receivership, then to be licensed, then from that I had it. After that all crazy with the Indian craziness, they licensed me because my dad basically stole the trademark and put it in his name and the company name when I had put it in my name and I used his attorneys, which when you're 18, 19 years old, you think everything's, kosher, whatever. Live and learn stuff, God bless. I got the most expensive education in the history of man. I mean, I could have gone to Harvard 52 times for what I lost on that deal. But I didn't lose anything. I learned, And but to get it back from something that I made lost and now it's back being licensed to me again to make it, and it's at the time and place where it's exactly how I want it to really be because the bike is being made full swing. Indian Motorcycle is living, it's thriving, it's Polaris, it's a real company. It's not just some guy tinkering. It's a real deal thing. So for me, that's like, it's what I wanted, but I couldn't have done it, but someone else did it, so I'm back in it. So I'm just happy to be involved in it again,
So, Phil, the IPCPR trade show, you've been famous for having the stagecoach. Yeah. Will we see the bike now at the booths this year?
Oh, yeah. We got a bunch of booths. It's going to be something special. I mean, we spent some real good money on to have a real beautiful presentation this year. The imagery is going to be amazing.
Phil, I'm kind of imagining you riding into IPCPR on this gigantic motorcycle with the really high handlebars. What do you call those?
Hangers. They call those ape hangers.
Ape hangers. I see ape hangers, and you like riding in all in leather with like fringe. That's how I see you coming in IPCPR.
And then Stogie Santa as the Red Baron, kind of.
Yeah.
Going around the next bike.
Get the sidecar with the Gatling gun strapped on.
Yeah, that's exactly how I picture it.
Give me a cigar.
No, remember the whole beauty of that's why it's all divinely guided because Indian Motorcycle started in 1901. That's the theme I did with Debonaire, the old America, right? So imagine it's going to be affiliated with the Debonaire. It all mixes in. It all works. The reason that Debonaire was in my head is I think it's by the osmosis or preconceived notion that whole that's what I originally started with. So the brick buildings, the old State Street, next to Smith & Wesson, the old 1901 Chiefs, the way everything was back then, and the old with the lettering and everything. And if you look at Debonaire, it's very reminiscent of that. So basically, I think it was just destined to come back that way.
Phil, that's fantastic. I look forward to what you're releasing at IPCPR. I look forward to smoking your new cigars. With that, we're going to take a very short break. We're going to come back, and Phil's going to sit in with us and participate in the Debonaire Ideal segment. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.